a much, much better performance by Loco this time around. And no, I don't mean because she didn't have anything on. Yes, it looks like Loco is, in fact, an exhibitionist. She likes all that attention and to show off in front of everybody. And all it took was her bearing it all. I'm dancing around it so much. But yes, episode 9 of Gushing Over Magical Girls. Really good episode. I will admit that, yeah, this episode has me really, really worried about this series going forward because it looks like it was rough. I'll just say that. This episode was extremely rough. Now, granted, all the important shots of, like, Loco were still very well done, but at the same time, those are typically going to be just kind of still shots that are panned, that are have a lot of detail put into them. It's just like the animation itself, the action itself just wasn't there. It was mostly just like, let's show the conclusion of the shots. It was literally just the panels. They literally just put the panels on the screen, colored them, and shifted them. We're going sadly into way the house husband territories here, and it has me really worried for the show going forward. And again, I never expect much for this from the studio itself, but I was at least happy they were holding it together. Like, even last episode's fight had some really good shots in there, but this one just seems like it's falling apart. So hopefully that's just a sign that the future episodes are going to be good. But again, I'm extremely worried at this point with this episode. But that aside, yes, this episode pretty much focused on mostly introducing Leber Bloom. I hate that name, Leber Bloom. I'm going to call her Nemo from now on. Introducing Nemo along with Loco and seemingly them joining the group, which, again, I had the assumption that was going to be the case. What I assumed is that, yes, you had the two bad guy sides, and eventually Utena was going to win them over somehow. And it looks like, yes, we've already gotten our first 2 recruits. We'll see how that plays out because, yes, they've technically been hunting down magical girls, and Utena wants to destroy them all. It's just to the extent of what is Utena going to do with these girls because, again, she doesn't like them. But yeah, this episode, at least showing them coming into the picture, we get the reveal that Nemo has been controlling people. Now, this is a side of me that, like, I felt a little bad. Like, I felt a little bad at this whole episode because it was, like, opening up this idea of Loco essentially having fake fans. And yeah, that was a question mark. Was she controlling them? No, it's in fact Nemo was holding them still, so they had to enjoy the show. But it at least shows how Loco at least had this delusion that she was good. She thinks back in the past, and yes, technically her friends used to make fun of her and think she was horrible. She was horrible. And her mom even pointing out that she's not that good. Mom, you think I could be an idol, right? No. Everybody's been laughing at her, and yes, technically it seems like Leverbloom has been using her power in order to at least allow that fantasy to happen. Because it does seem like, obviously, probably at some point, they met each other, and Loco wanted to be an idol, and, you know, it's going to be one of the tsundere things. They act like they hate each other, but in fact, Leverbloom liked her and wanted her to be happy, and so she was controlling people so that she could perform. Even though she's terrible. Again, it was kind of sad because you had that little moment where Uchena's like, oh, you had fake fans. You were never good. What, you can't perform? And I was like, I kind of was starting to feel bad for Loco. Like, yeah, the girl's bad. Yes, she beat up magical girls. Yeah, she's like full of herself. She got a hot head and everything like that. But I still kind of feel bad because like her entire world is like crumbling in front of her. And Uchena's just sitting there going, yeah, so what, you can't perform? It was kind of sad. But again, it's one of those things where it kind of quickly shifts to, yes, take off everything. Oh, you're just like Enorme, which I knew that was going to come up. I knew at some point there was going to be a connection between Baiser and Enorme and how they both kind of act the same. They're both like, you know, dominating whoever they're against. But yeah, it was like this little side of me that was a little bit upset. Then suddenly it gets flown off, and then suddenly she enjoys herself and is like, okay, we'll have a happy ending at the end. You have over here. She's like, oh, guess you won. And I'm like, okay, now you're getting me a little emotional. Why is this dumb trash show suddenly getting me emotional in the idea that suddenly, obviously Loco has overcome something and she's realized something. Yeah, has she rediscovered her joy of being an idol? Is it finally realizing that there's something else important to it? Finally discovering the idea of people wanting to hear them sing something proper or whatever? Who knows? I'm not sure exactly how deep they're getting with that whole thing. But again, it still was enough that it got me a little emotional. But yeah, and then at the very end, having them join, which that was my assumption. I knew that was kind of the direction that we're going to take, is the two sides being, you know, split. And then over time, Utena kind of recruiting them in. Is she going to allow them to join? Because again, technically, they hunted down a bunch of magical girls, and that's not something she's happy with. We'll see. But yeah, it was a fun little kind of conclusion to that whole thing. But Other than that, yes, technically we had a brief little moment at the very beginning showing Utena recovering, and then we had we had Leopard or Kiwi giving a present to Korisu, and it was Mecha. Mark my words. Mark my words. I have no doubt that Mecha is going to be used by Alice. It's one of those things where it's like, it kind of plays it out like, yeah, Kiwi was trying to do a good thing for Korisu. Again, previous episode, she broke one of her dolls, and she's like, look, I'll get you a new one. She wanted her to fix it, but she's like, I'm going to get you a new one. The moment they brought that out, and Utena was like, I don't think that's what Korisu wants, because she wants dolls. Watch, she actually likes them. And then she ends up building it, and then we have literally, she's going around on top of a mecha instead of this big doll. She's going to be massively OP, because that's the idea of somebody that controls objects or controls toys, is it's what is a toy? The imagination is endless when it comes to toys and whatnot, and what you can technically build and how lethal it can be. So yeah, sure. Why not? Why not have Korisu running around as Alice on top of a mecha? It's just going to happen. But yes, I like the fact that we've already established here, again, similar to what I was saying earlier. Yes, Utena wants them all dead. She wants to take down, well, it doesn't say dead. She wants to punish, and she wants to do it as quick as possible. She's like, I'm sorry I wasn't there. No, you were hurt. No, we have to do this fast. We need to take them down. She's like, this needs to be done. But yes, we did get quite a bit of time this episode showing them trying to get Azul powered up. They've actually seen Leopard and Alice fighting Loco, and they were like, just let him have it. There was kind of a little bit of a hint here in that mindset difference between Magenta and Sulfur, and the idea that Sulfur just wants to destroy them. We need to destroy them as fast as possible. Let them destroy each other. We'll power up. Then we'll come in and defeat them when they're weaker. Sulfur is just all about destroy. And in getting that little hint of Magenta being the too pure soul, in contrast, in the idea of she's like, no, we need to get over there fast. Wait, you crush them? What is that? It really does feel like Magenta still got that pure heart and the idea that she doesn't want people to fight. She's the pacifist, despite the fact that she is fighting against bad guys. She doesn't want to crush them, doesn't want harm to come to people. She wants everybody to be friends, basically. But yes, hinting at the idea that Azul herself can power up with a weapon. Now, I never picked up on this, and it's the idea that, yes, technically, yeah, I just assumed Magenta had the spear, Azul had this ice sword, and then Sulfur had a shield, but she could also use these fists. But that the fists were almost like a power-up point, that she was at stage 2 of Magical Girls, and Azul and Magenta were stage 1 with the spear and the sword. But no, it looks like Sulfur just never used her weapon. She always had fists, and Magenta always used her spear. She's always had a spear. And then Azul in the middle was creating a sword. It was never her actual weapon. So that's kind of interesting to see that, yes, technically, Magenta and Sulfur they could be different power levels, but they were technically on the same level with the weapons. So curious to see what Azul gets. Is it just going to be a sword, a physical sword, rather than an ice sword? Where does the sword come from? That's the question mark. Obviously, it comes from the powers because they're manifesting. It's not like they're putting it on. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with Azul. But yeah, that stuff around them was just weird. It was the fun comedy of this episode, just seeing like Azul just getting worked up over the whole waterfall thing. That's supposed to like get rid of your worldly desires, and it's making it worse. And then later on having the whole like flashback to the Alice's little house and how they grabbed onto her, and Sulfur's like, I didn't want to remember that. Grabs one of them. Magenta grab the other one. Can't get around. She's like, really? I can grab the other one? Okay, grab the other one. Too pure. It was fun. It was a nice little kind of end cap to the episode. I got a lot of kick out of it. But yeah, looking forward to the next episode. I have a basic idea what it's going to be about, and the title kind of confirms it, and this idea that it's going to be getting into Loco and Liberbloom. So curious to see what happens with that. And the title kind of implies the idea of the whole like coming together thing. So we'll see how far they technically go with that. But it was a fun little episode. Getting more into Liberbloom and their ability to control shadows is okay. I mean, it's a common special ability, so I don't know. Hopefully, we'll see how that kind of plays out with the group. If again, Baiser even lets them join. Again, I'm curious to see how much she would push the idea of accepting any of Normie's group to the group, because again, they harmed her magical girls and she's not too happy about that. But I mean, technically, Leopard joined the group, and Leopard has been fighting Magia as well. So it's not as if she's, it's not as if they're bringing up a new concept here to Baiser. She has accepted them in. Maybe it's just a punishment or something like that. But we'll have to see. I did get a kick out of the fact that Baiser, when she captured Liverbloom inside of the dollhouse, she's like, "Oh, I feel so bad. I'm sorry, Alice. I'm destroying one of your dollhouses. I'll have to fix it when I'm done." And she's just drooling. And Leopard's over there like, "Yep, that's Baiser. That's our girl right there." Just seeing overall Baiser just being weird is always fun. And it kind of felt like last episode we didn't get enough of it. So it was nice to have her kind of coming back into the picture and going full out. Anyhow, that's my thoughts on episode 9 of Gushing Over Magical Girls. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, you did make sure that like button down below, comment, let me know what's thought of the episode. Additionally, if you're new to the channel, make sure that subscribe button to my content and news reviews, first impressions, top list if it's anime, it's pretty much here. Additionally, if you want to support the channel more, I have Patreon link, tips, links, super thanks, membership button down below. Greatly appreciate what it does, and y'all take care.